In 1453, a 21-year-old sultan pointed 70 cannons at the walls of Constantinople, walls that had held for over 1,000 years, and knocked them down in 53 days. The last Roman emperor died fighting in the streets. The most defensible city in the world fell, and the Ottoman Empire announced to history that it was not a passing phenomenon. It was a civilization. The Ottoman Empire lasted over 600 years, from 1299 to 1922. At its height, it governed 30 million people across 3 continents. It is one of the longest-lived and most consequential empires in human history, and it is almost entirely absent from Western history education. The Ottomans began as a small Turkish tribal principality in northwestern Anatolia, one of dozens of successor states that emerged from the collapse of the Seljuk Sultanate under Mongol pressure in the late 13th century. Their founder, Osman I, ruled a territory so small it barely registered on contemporary maps. But his location was strategically perfect, on the frontier between the weakened Byzantine Empire and the Islamic world, where ambitious warriors, dispossessed soldiers, and religious idealists gathered. What distinguished the early Ottomans was not military power alone, it was institutional flexibility. They absorbed conquered peoples into their system rather than simply subjugating them. Christian soldiers served in Ottoman armies. Jewish communities fleeing persecution in Christian Europe found protection under Ottoman rule. The Devshirme system recruiting talented Christian boys, converting them, educating them, and placing them
Copy
in
the
the
text
highest
with care, young
administrative
scholars.
and military
Yes, Master.
positions, created a loyal meritocratic elite that owed everything to the Sultan. The conquest of Constantinople by Sultan Mehmed II on May 29, 1453, was one of the most consequential events in world history. Mehmed, who had taught himself 6 languages and studied Greek history before the siege, deployed the largest cannons ever built, cast by a Hungarian engineer named Urban, who had first offered his services to the Byzantine emperor and been turned away for lack of funds. The Theodosian walls, unbreached for over 1,000 years, fell within 53 days. The last Byzantine emperor, Constantine XI, died fighting. Mehmed rode into the Hagia Sophia and declared it a mosque. Constantinople became Istanbul, the new capital of an empire that would dominate the eastern Mediterranean for the next 4 centuries. The fall sent shockwaves across Europe. Greek scholars fled westward, carrying ancient manuscripts directly fueling the Italian Renaissance. European trade routes to Asia through Constantinople were now controlled by the Ottomans, accelerating the search for alternative sea routes that would produce the age of exploration. One event, the fall of a single city, changed the trajectory of the entire world. Under Suleiman the Magnificent, who ruled from 1520 to 1566, the Ottoman Empire reached its greatest extent and its greatest cultural achievement. Ottoman armies besieged Vienna in 1529, bringing the empire to the doorstep of Central Europe. The Ottoman navy, under the admiral Hayreddin Barbarossa, dominated the Mediterranean. But the empire was not just military. Suleiman was also a poet, a legal reformer. His subjects called him Kanuni, the lawgiver, and a patron of extraordinary architectural achievement. The Suleimani Mosque in Istanbul, designed by the architect Sinan, is one of the masterpieces of world architecture. Ottoman Istanbul was, by any measure, the most sophisticated city in the 16th century world, its population of 700,000 dwarfing any European capital. The empire was also remarkable for its relative religious tolerance. The millet system allowed Christian and Jewish communities to govern their own internal affairs under their own religious law. When the Spanish Inquisition expelled Jews from Spain in 1492, the Ottoman Sultan Bayezid II reportedly sent ships to bring them to Ottoman territory, famously remarking that the Spanish king had impoverished his own country by expelling people who would enrich the Ottomans. The Ottoman Empire lasted 600 years. It governed the crossroads of the world, controlling the trade routes between Europe, Asia, and Africa. It produced architectural masterpieces, legal codes, and a model of religious coexistence that many modern states have failed to replicate. Its decline and eventual collapse in the 20th century reshaped the modern Middle East in ways the world is still living with today. The borders drawn in its aftermath by European powers who misunderstood everything the Ottomans had built remain some of the most contested on earth. The most underestimated empire in history didn't just survive for 6 centuries. It shaped the world that came after it, including the one we live in now.